Okay, so welcome again and thank you very much for joining. I know that some of you may be coming from different countries here, and it might be late evening or afternoon or morning time for some of you. So again, thank you very much for coming. So this webinar is being hosted by Advanced Edge Professional Services, and my name is Anastasia, and I am the founder of Advanced Edge Professional Services. We are based in Toronto, Canada, and we offer business analysis courses to prepare business analysts and those who perform business analysis activities for their certifications provided by the International Institute of Business Analysis. And we also have the status of the endorsed education provider of the International Institute of Business Analysis and are very proud of this status. So today we are hosting our third webinar in the series of our bi-weekly free webinars. So we have already had two webinars before, and if you are interested, you can find the recordings of those two previous webinars on our website. So at Advanced Edge Professional Services, as I've mentioned, we specialize in providing business analysis courses to prepare business analysts for successful certifications by IIB and also just to enhance and deepen the knowledge in the area of business analysis. And while we are here in the introduction part of our today's webinar, I would also like to announce our next webinar. So it will happen in 2 weeks. It will also be Wednesday, September the 25th, 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So basically the same day of the week and time as today. It will also be an online 1-hour Zoom session. And the topic of that webinar will be efficient business analysis information management, where we decide what information we need to store, how to store, who has the right to propose change requests, how to manage those change requests, and so on and so forth. So this will happen in 2 weeks. And now to our today's webinar. So again, the topic of our today's webinar is Beyond the Basics, Soft Skills for Effective Business Analysis. And today we will cover such areas as professional growth, and we will start with the definition of professional growth, what it is and what it takes to grow professionally. Then we will discuss the types of exchange. We will talk about both hard skills and soft skills, and then focus more on the soft skills that are especially important for business analysts. Let's start. So first of all, professional growth. Professional growth is defined as the ongoing process as developing skills, knowledge, and practices that help you advance your career. So basically, the education doesn't stop after we finish or after we graduate from the university and we start working. In case we are interested in the professional growth, we should certainly continue our education, and it can be in different formats. It can be courses. Some skills will be improved from practice, right, and getting done certain tasks at work, but education should also be continued. So basically, professional growth is defined as the summary of the skills, knowledge, and abilities that you possess and continuously develop, right? And professional growth is also about your ability by developing your skills, both hard skills and soft skills, to influence your career positively. And it doesn't happen, this development of your skills, whether it is hard skills or soft skills, it doesn't necessarily happen naturally and over time on its own. It requires effort and starts from the inside, from your decision to grow professionally and to make some effort to develop your skills, right? So if, for example, today you have a certain position in a company, regardless of the job title, right? It can be business analyst, it can be product owner, project manager, product manager probably, or team lead. There is a list of responsibilities that you have to take care of, right? And also the list of requirements to you as an employee. And this is the area of your current responsibilities. But also, Your current skills that you have, both your hard and soft skills, give us your total level of professionalism as of today. And ideally, they should match. And by the moment when your level of professionalism is much higher, is much bigger than your current position requires, this is where professional growth and your career advancement starts, right? So it's not about doing the same things at your work all over again and waiting for somebody to come and tell you, well, we think now you should be a team lead, for example. Right? It doesn't happen this way. Professional growth assumes responsibility for your personal development of your skills. And once you continue the development of your hard and soft skills, this area that you can cover becomes more, and you can get promoted. Or if it's not possible for some reasons at your current company, you will probably start looking for other positions within other companies, simply because you will understand that you can do more and deliver much better outcomes. Okay, so again, as a summary, professional growth is not a natural process. By saying natural, I mean like when you come to work and do your everyday activities over and over again, not introducing anything new, not learning anything new, right? It requires effort. It requires your decision to develop yourself and grow. So, your level of professionalism can be defined as a skill set, right? The skills that you have and the level of each skill that you possess. Assume in a company there is a business analyst, or there is a business analyst position. And one of the skills that that business analyst should have is being able to conduct meetings with stakeholders, right? And assume these are regular weekly meetings, and in this company it is the business analyst's responsibility to conduct those meetings. So how would the level of professionalism influence what that business analyst can do, right? So assume we have three grades, like junior business analyst, middle business analyst, and senior business analyst. And here on this slide, you can see how differently they might approach the same activity or the same responsibility, being on a different level. If it is a junior business analyst who has been just hired probably and is new to a company, they will probably need someone's supervision, someone's help. Here, I just use the word manager because it can be a senior business analyst on the same initiative probably, or somebody else, right? So assume we have a new business analyst, and it is their task to conduct regular weekly meetings at the same day of the week and time with the stakeholders. So if it is a new person who is a junior right now at this position, they will probably need a reminder from their manager saying, hey, we have a call in 2 days with our stakeholders, please prepare the agenda, and the manager will have to provide a sample agenda or a template for preparing this agenda. The manager will have to remind that business analyst to prepare that agenda on time. The manager will have probably to remind also about certain action points and items that have to be included into this agenda. The manager will have to review it once the agenda is ready and completed by the business analyst. The manager will also have to come to this meeting with stakeholders, monitor how it goes, and probably lead the meeting, right? And the business analyst at this stage will just be listening and making notes, which then again will have to be checked by the manager. Here you can see how the involvement and the supervision of the manager is pretty high, right? Once this professional, this business analyst starts growing, right, and understanding that I can do this better, I need to take care about this and that, they start remembering about probably the schedule and different rules existing in the company. They don't have to be reminded about the date of the call, and they remember about the meeting schedule and do the agenda on their own, but it is still the manager who has to review it, right, before it is sent out to the client or to the stakeholders, prior the call, and also the manager still has to come to the call and monitor how it goes. And at this stage, business analysts at least starts covering certain items from that agenda because they now know how this can be done. And when the business analyst continues his or her professional growth, they become a senior business analyst, doing the same activity, conducting regular meetings with the clients. But here, the level of independency is much higher. They don't need that involvement and supervision from their manager. They remember about the schedule. They prepare the agenda in advance. The agenda is complete and of high quality, and it also includes the follow-ups on those items that were discussed at the previous call to make sure they are complete. They can fluently conduct the whole call, right, or the whole meeting with the clients without any supervision from the manager. They remember that they have to capture the meeting notes after the call, and it's not just a text, it's a structured list of action points, and those action points are then being sent out to everybody who is relevant for this conversation. And business analyst, for example, also monitors those action points until their completion. So with this basic example, conducting meetings with stakeholders, I'm showing how the level of professionalism evolves over time, right? And how junior, middle, and a senior professional would complete the same activity differently, and how the level of required supervision influences the current level of a specialist. And this can be applied to any skill. Conducting meetings with stakeholders is just one example. And probably such a tool even exists in your company. If not, you can probably think about that on your own. Basically, your current position assumes the list of the hard skills and soft skills that you should possess, right? And we can divide those hard and soft skills into two groups, and then think about what would be the basic level, as in my example here. This is the basic level, this is the intermediate level, and this is the senior level, right? How would that skill be performed on the basic, intermediate, and advanced level? And what you can see is that probably some of your skills that are required for your current job are on an advanced level, and you can do certain things very fluently. The quality is high, you don't have to be reminded, you don't have to be checked by anybody, and nobody makes corrections because it's perfect, right? But on the other side, you may be also aware of some skills that still need further development. And your current level of professionalism, whether you're a junior, middle, or senior specialist, or probably there is some other gradation at your workplace, is defined by the summary of those skills and their levels. But keep in mind both hard skills and soft skills. So if you want to grow professionally, take a moment to self-reflect and think about those skills that are not yet on the advanced level, but that are truly needed in your current activities at work, and focus on their development. Because remember, the level of professionalism and growing professionally requires effort and your attention. And one more thing that I would like to share before we proceed to the exact examples of skills, of soft skills, I would like to share this idea that nothing stays the same, right? It is either improving or deteriorating. If nothing is being done, if no effort is being put into development, it is an illusion that we are staying the same. Everything is improving or deteriorating. So if a professional doesn't invest in self-development, some skills may become less perfect than they used to be before, right? So this is just the dynamics of development. And now let's proceed to the next topic here. The next topic is the types of exchange. And this is also important to understand in order if you want to grow professionally and grow in your career, right? So there are 4 types of exchange. And originally, those four types were designed for companies and to promote the idea of how companies should treat their customers in order to have more customers and to have returning customers so that customers come back and spend money with the same company again. But if you think about these four types of exchange, you can obviously see how the same idea can be applied to professional development. Let's start with the first type of exchange. It is called unethical exchange, or in some sources, you can even see the word criminal exchange, right? Why is this called this way? Well, assume we have two parties, right? For example, your employer and you. And unethical exchange is when you do something, you give, but you do not receive anything in exchange. For example, you have been working for a month, you are expecting to receive your salary, and the salary is not coming, right? And your employer says, well, sorry, we have gone through bankruptcy, and now we are not paying anybody. That was your last month of work with us, and we are not paying for this. This is an ethical exchange or a criminal exchange. And another example would be here, like making an order in a restaurant. Assume you're making an online order from the restaurant, probably through some delivery service. You select the dishes that you want to order, you make the payment, but food never arrives, right? So you gave what you were supposed to give, but you received nothing in exchange. This is unethical exchange. The second type of exchange is deficient exchange. This is when you give as much as you were ought to give, but you do not receive in turn as much as you were supposed to receive, right? I will continue talking about the same two examples throughout all four types of exchange. If you're working at a company, assume that your salary should be like it was agreed and you signed a contract that your monthly salary is $1,000, just for an example, right? You do all the responsibilities, all your tasks, you are good at your work, and there is nothing that has been incompleted or you were not coming to your workplace or something. Like you do everything that you should do. But at the end of the month, you receive just half of your salary, right? This is an example of a deficient exchange. Or again, you're making an online order from a restaurant, you select 4 dishes, you make the payment, but only 2 dishes arrive. This is an example of a deficient exchange. Now, the third type of an exchange is a fair exchange, when you get as much as you were supposed to get, and you give as much as you were supposed to give, right? Again, with the example, working at a company, you do everything you should do, and you receive the salary that you were to receive, right? That was proposed, that was offered to you at the beginning when you were signing the contract. And the same with ordering food from a restaurant. You order 4 dishes, you pay, you receive those dishes. That's it. That's a fair exchange. And finally, the most important type of exchange, the one that is important for both the companies who are providing any services and also for individuals who are interested in the professional growth. This is a generous exchange or an exchange with an excess, right? When you give more than you were supposed to give. Assume you're working in the company, you do everything that you were supposed to do, but then at the end of the month, you receive salary plus a bonus that was not discussed before. So to say, a surprise bonus, right? And you feel very happy, you feel valued, your motivation probably raises because you didn't expect that, but you got that, right? Or it can be not necessarily coming in form of a money. For example, you really wanted to go to a certain education or business analysis forum, probably, right? In a different city, in a different location. And it was not part of your employer's of your contract with an employer that they will send you to such an education, but they are telling you, well, here's your salary, and we have also made a decision to send you to that education. And you're happy because you wanted it, and it came to you unexpectedly, right? And Again, with the same restaurant, you order 4 dishes, you pay for 4 dishes, those 4 dishes get delivered, and you receive a dessert as a compliment from the restaurant for free, right? And you also feel good about it. So now let's turn this and look at this at the other side. When you are not the one who is getting more, but you are the one who is giving more, right? So at your workplace. Again, back to this very picture with your current list of responsibilities and your current level of skills and what you can do, you are not doing just what is expected from you. Well, professional growth is probably not possible here, right? When that much is expected and you are doing only this. It may happen probably in some extraordinary scenarios, but typically it's not what happens in life, right? Here on the right, we can see when the both areas are the same size, which means that it can happen, but again, you have to work more and to work harder to become more professional at your skills. And this is when you give more, you deliver more. So, and this is when you are ready to go higher in your career. So, in other words, if you want to get more, start giving more and be consistent in this. And it also should involve continuous education and investing in developing in the skills development. So these were the 4 types of exchange and how they can help you. So again, give more than is expected from you, be consistent, invest in professional development, and turn the gained knowledge into skills. Because the knowledge itself, the theory that lives in your head and that is not applied in your daily activities, you do not really benefit from this. Every time you learn something new, think about how can I apply this in my day-to-day activities, in my day-to-day work. So now let's talk about hard skills and soft skills. We all know that there are 2 categories of skills, right? Hard skills and soft skills. And let's start with the definitions first. Well, hard skills are technical skills. They are gained through the education and experience, and they may be specific to the industry, and they are very visible, obvious, and they are measurable. An example of a hard skill in business analysis will be your ability to draw a wireframe. This is a hard skill, right? And in other words, hard skills are about what you can do, right? Soft skills. Soft skills are also called people skills or interpersonal skills. And these are the abilities that are not learned at universities necessarily, even though some universities are already ordering courses related to this matter, but they are the skills that are developed throughout your entire life. And not only at your workplace, they are also influenced by your personal life. And they are hard to measure, they are harder to see, but they are those that come basically from the inside, from your personal traits, characters, your attitude, your behavioral characteristics, while the hard skills are those that are learned from the outside. And basically, if we make it very simple, like almost any hard skill, especially in business analysis, it can be learned. You can learn how to make an entity relationship diagram. You can learn how to manage backlog and what a backlog is and what should be included. You can learn to manage even a project plan and anything else. But the soft skills, they are developed from the inside, and self-reflection is required to recognize what you currently have and you don't, and what should be developed. So in other words, soft skills are about how and why you do the activities that you are supposed to do. And I have an example here, which is not from the area of business analysis, but I think it is very easy to see how hard and soft skills influence our work results on this example. Let's talk about a carpenter, right? The hard skills for a carpenter here, for the simplicity purposes, would be the toolkit that a carpenter has. And here on the left side, I have an image of that toolkit that a carpenter may have. But the soft skills, and they can work with those tools in the toolbox, right? They can use each tool appropriately. They know what it is for, what it is designed for, and how to apply it, right? This is the hard skills. This is your toolbox, what you can do, what you can do. The key word is what. But then we have two different carpenters and how they do their work and why they do their work. This is what will influence the quality of the furniture that they make, right? Assume you have one carpenter who is impatient. He wants to do everything as fast as they can, and they are not very into the quality of their products. Like they think, well, they pay X dollars, I need to make this, I do this, and that's it. While the other carpenter cares about the quality, they want their customer to be very happy about the product that they receive. They select those tools that can make it special, the furniture that they make, right? So they care about the result, and at the end we will receive absolutely different armchairs, for example, created by two different carpenters, even if they had the same toolbox and they both know how to use those tools, right? So it is sometimes it will be the soft skills that make the difference. The same with the business analysis. We can have two business analysts who know all the 50 techniques from the Babel guide, right? The business analysis body of knowledge created by the International Institute of Business Analysis. That book in the area of business analysis lists 50 techniques that the business analysts can apply, including backlog management, acceptance criteria, wireframes, decision analysis, and so on and so forth. And two business analysts knowing the same techniques but having different soft skills will deliver absolutely different results. So these are just some examples in the business analysis of soft and hard skills. I have already named some of them. So the hard skills would be create a business case, elaborate a mock-up, create an entity relationship diagram, create the dictionary for the initiative so that everybody uses the same terms for the same things consistently over the initiative and can understand each other. Document backlog and prioritize requirements. Document a process flow, or I don't know, to make a grid comparing some solutions. These are the hard skills, while the soft skills would be personal accountability. This is when I understand that I have a task, I have to deliver the result that is expected from me, or probably that I have promised, and I want that result to be of a good quality so that those people who that result is created for can then further use it in their work. For example, I am working on a business case, and I want this business case to be easily understood and to be very informative and clear for those key stakeholders who are looking at it and make a decision whether they approve or do not approve the initiative, right? The next skill for me would be time management. As a business analyst, it is my responsibility to be able to prioritize my business analysis tasks in a way that I can deliver the results that I expected from me, and not saying, well, I don't have time for this. Well, this is not done yet. I don't have time for this. Well, if you have this issue that you are always short of time and you do not have enough time to do all the activities that I expected from you, go talk to your manager and say, well, I have A, B, C, and D to complete. I need this much time for each activity. Let's set the priorities together. It is also a soft skill not to always escape such conversations and keep saying that my manager is not a good one. He or she doesn't understand me. He pushes me hard so that I can do everything at once, but I cannot do everything at once. I get frustrated, right? The soft skill here would be to be able to hold such conversations, to set priorities, and to deliver what is expected. Then also communication, because business analysis work results are heavily dependent on the quality of your relationships with your stakeholders. And let's remember that stakeholders are not just the end users or just the project sponsors or the development team. It is anybody who is affected or can influence the initiative, right, or the solution. So it includes verbal, non-verbal communication, and also your ability to listen, and written communication, being polite, sending those emails or those messages that are important to be sent right now, and so on. The next skill here is facilitation. Again, business analysts, they can hold meetings with clients. They can conduct interview sessions to elicit requirements and elicit more information from the stakeholders. They can conduct brainstorming sessions, and so on and so forth. And your skill to facilitate is crucial, because you need to know that, well, we have an agenda. We cannot spend 1 hour just to discuss the first item from the agenda. We have to cover 5 items in our agenda. And you know how to politely remind those at the meeting that, guys, we have already covered this and that. Now let's proceed to the next item because we need to discuss this. And you can explain what is going on, what the rules are, how to follow those rules, and you know how to achieve the result of the activity that is being conducted right now. In my example, this is the meeting with stakeholders. Then teaching. Probably this is not this is a little bit surprising here. What can business analysts teach, right? But let's start with business analysis, because sometimes you may have already had this experience, or maybe it is coming in your future, when you meet the stakeholders who do not know who business analysts are and why they have to collaborate with business analysts. Some stakeholders, especially those from business, will come and say, I need a developer. Give me a developer. I will tell them what I want so that they can code this for me and we are done here. But instead, they meet you, a business analyst, a product owner, a product manager, who starts asking lots of questions. And they get probably nervous and frustrated, saying, I don't need all this. And this is when you can teach them what business analysis is, introduce like what you do and why this is important and how this can deliver more value for them, right? You can also apply teaching when working with other business analysts, and probably you found a great tool that is not used in your company yet, but you want everybody to know about it because it's really great. And there are some other cases when this can be applied. Of course, teamwork, right? Business analysis activities are never like sole activity. It's not something that you do on your own. Your work results are being consumed by other people, by other team members. So you have to be good at teamwork. And then also negotiation and conflict resolution are just some more examples, and we will cover them a bit later today. So again, I want to show you almost similar to the carpenter, how in business analysis, hard and soft skills and their combination can influence the results that you deliver. Assume your hard skill here that you're applying is creating a wireframe for the sign-up form. This is a hard skill, and we have 2 business analysts who are both great at this, right? Both can create a very thought-through sign-up form wireframe. But then, and assume you are doing this in a knowledge base that is used in the project initiative or the product development process. But what's different here is that one business analyst is not very good at communication, is not good at presentation and being able to teach others what's going on. But we have the other one who knows that once a wireframe has been created, it has to be demonstrated and shown to the stakeholders, for example, the end users or the project manager or product owner. It has to be confirmed with the product owner that everything here is correct. And they have to know that this is ready, and the development team should know that this wireframe is ready, and once I, as a business analyst, get approval for this wireframe, I can pass it on to the team so that they can start the development process. And that is why that business analyst, once the wireframe is ready, goes to the relevant stakeholders and says, hey, I have created this wireframe. So here we will have the email field. Our users will not have to confirm the email entry. I think that entering it once is okay, but they will have to confirm the password. In case passwords do not match, we will show an error. This is the error text that we will show. Both input fields will be highlighted. Well, I propose we also collect the credit card information on the same screen so that our users have to make less clicks and it all fits good on one screen. They don't even will have to scroll it. They will not have even to scroll this. So, and once they start entering the card information, we will show them, we will validate that this is, for example, USA Bank, because we accept only payments from the USA credit cards, right? And we will also take care and validate the expiration date so that it cannot be in the past. And if they enter something incorrectly, we will again highlight those fields and show an error, and the sign up button will be locked until all the mandatory required fields are completed. So what do you think about this? What should I also add here? Do you think it's good to go, or should we do something about this? And this other person who is good at communication and at discussion and at collaboration will probably get the approval and the feedback much faster than the first one who just completed the wireframe of the same quality, as good as the other one, but didn't go to other people, tell about them work result, and let it go further in the value delivery flow, right? So this is how soft skills sometimes can be much more important than having hard skills. One other important thing, I have already mentioned that hard skills are maybe easier to develop because they are more obvious, right? If you don't know how to make a wireframe, you understand this well. For example, you are being asked, please create a wireframe for the sign-up form, and you think, well, I have never done this before. I don't know how to approach this. You understand this very easily. You can go Google it. You can find a video, a tutorial. You can find other examples from other platforms, and you can deal with this pretty quickly, right? So this is more easier to understand than the soft skills. The soft skills are less visible, they are not measurable, and it is hard to recognize that you are probably lacking some of the soft skills. It is not enough for that professional growth that we were talking about at the beginning of this webinar to just focus on development one category of your skills. For example, always develop your hard skills, learn new techniques, learn new tools, learn new practices, and being good at it. For good professional growth, for consistent professional growth, you have always to think about the balance of developing both pillars represented as hard skills and soft skills. Developing hard skills is important. You need this, you apply this at your day-to-day work, but you should also remember that it is not enough, right? And you should also remember about the soft skills and recognize which soft skills need further development. Only when two pillars are being built by you, right, simultaneously and consistently, this is when the professional growth happens. And we have already covered some core soft skills in business analysis, but if we go back to the topic of our today's webinar, it says beyond the basics, right? Soft skills for effective business analysis. So I would say that the core soft skills for business analysts are active listening, and active is a very important word here. When you constantly give the confirmation and understanding to the other party who you are talking to, that you keep listening, that you understand what they are saying, that this is important, and you know how to apply this, right? Learning, communication, teaching, teamwork, time management, accountability, trustworthiness, decision-making, systems thinking, problem-solving, critical thinking. These are probably the most important core soft skills that business analysts should possess and constantly evolve them, right? You can find all these soft skills listed in the book guide and find more details about them. But what I want to focus today more on is the advanced soft skills. And I would like to start with the first one, which is emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence has 5 components into it. And as you currently can see, they are numbered here. And it's not just because I want to show them, I want to show you that there are 5 of them, but that's because this order, how they are numbered, is important. And it influences the other skills that go after the first one, for example. So, number one, self-awareness. Self-awareness is about you being able to recognize your emotions and your feelings, right? You can say, well, I'm angry right now. I don't like them criticizing my work. I don't like them coming late to the meeting. I understand that this makes me angry, right? Why this is important? Because sometimes in our day-to-day life, when we have lots of things to do, when we have deadlines, when we have lots of responsibilities, we can ignore our feelings and we can feel them, but we do not acknowledge them, right? They exist and we feel them, but we do not tell ourselves, well, I'm angry right now. But the truth is that until you acknowledge them, until you can tell yourself, well, I'm angry right now, you cannot manage it. You cannot do anything with it. You can start reacting to this feeling and, for example, being impolite to the person who is criticizing, for example, or giving you feedback, I should rather say, on your work, right? Or who is coming late to the meeting. You can start shouting, probably, I don't know, or you can start being rude because it's just the reaction. But instead of giving that reaction, which doesn't really positively impact your communication and collaboration with that person, you should understand why this is happening. And then the self-regulation can come. If you understand, well, I'm feeling angry because they are coming late to this meeting and we have only 1 hour and we have so many things to discuss and we will certainly not be able to cover everything. But once you understand this feeling, you can now manage it. You can say, well, okay, if they come 15 minutes late, I will focus not on the first and third item. I need to discuss item 2, 5, and 6 first of all, because these are the crucial things. And I will start our discussion with the idea to schedule another meeting because it's obvious that we will not cover anything else. So this is how differently you can approach the same cases, the same situations once you have the self-awareness and self-regulation. The third item here is motivation, right? Once you have that self-regulation and self-awareness, you can understand what motivates you and what demotivates you. Assume you have prepared a documentation for certain requirements, you show your documentation and you receive negative feedback. And you can say, well, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't like that. They don't understand my ideas. They don't like what I'm doing here. I don't want to go to work today, and so on and so forth. But once you recognize why this is happening and see that gap for improvement there, say, well, okay, I'll try one more time because, well, the truth is that some of the feedback I totally agree with, and that's okay that I haven't noticed that and didn't pay attention to that from the first sight, right? Then empathy. Empathy is about being able to understand and recognize the feelings of others and being able to work with those feelings. Think about emotional intelligence as about an onion diagram, right? There is a type of a diagram called onion diagram, and this is typically applied for stakeholders analysis, right? Who are our core stakeholders, key stakeholders, who is the next level stakeholders, and so on and so forth. And emotional intelligence is basically being developed by you using the same approach. First, it is self-awareness, self-regulation, your motivation, and once you are able to recognize your feelings and to manage your feelings, you can start noticing the feelings of others and be able to understand why they feel that or this and where these feelings are coming from and how you can work with this person now who is feeling that feeling. Sorry about that. And I will provide you with an example a little bit later. And also social skills. Once we can recognize other feelings and manage them, once we can understand the feelings of others, we can find the best approaches to communicate and collaborate. Let's take a look at the example. So assume you're a business analyst working again on the series of the wireframes for a mobile app, right? And this is going to be a mobile app for parents of students who go to a private school. And the key stakeholders here is the owner of the school, the business owner, the principal of the school, the vice principal, and these are the key stakeholders who you are working with. Remember, this is a private school, and they want to create a mobile app for the parents of the kids who come to this private school, so that the parents can see their kids' profiles, their current progress, their grades at school, probably see some comments and messages from the teachers, the school calendar with the days off, and so on and so forth. And you have elaborated the following wireframes so far. The project has just started. The login screen for the parents, right? Then the screens to manage kids' profiles, where a parent can add the information about the kid, just the general info for now. You have just started. The ability to see their school subjects, like what that kid studies at school, the list of subjects, and just the average grade for each subject. For example, math, 70%, science, 85%. Just the total average, not the drill down for each assignment, right? And you have elaborated only those prototypes so far, and you schedule a meeting with your key stakeholders that I have listed, the business owner, the school principal, the school vice president, and you want to share those wireframes, and wireframes would look like this. So they're not graphic design things, right? This will be your wireframes, something like this. And you're excited to share those wireframes with them just to get some feedback as early as possible, whether you are on the right track, whether you should continue with this, what else should be included, and so on and so forth. You really like this project, and you come to this meeting with your key stakeholders. And you're expecting to receive highly positive feedback, that you have already made so much progress, that this is great, that they can see the averages for and the totals for each subject, and so on and so forth. But instead, you are being interrupted all over the time, and those people, they are business people, or they come from the area of education, right? They're private school for kids. They have never been into the software development industry. This is their first experience. And they are looking at your wireframes and saying, why do these pictures look like a child has drawn them? Like, is this the final look and feel that we will get? When we will finally start working on the graphic design, this is not what we were expecting. Or like, when will this be ready? I understand that this is just the pictures, but we need to be able to test this as soon as possible so that we can launch it and give it to our parents. Or, for example, you have made a wireframe where a parent can add kids in for, and there is only one kid in the list, and they are asking you, why is there only one kid? Well, we have parents who have 3 kids going to our school. Will the same parent be able to add under the same account several kids' profiles? Why haven't you thought about this? Well, then they see the list of subjects, the wireframe with the list of subjects that kids study at school, and just the average grades, and they're saying, well, this is fine, but it's not what we need. We need them to be able to click on each subject and see the drill down, how that average got received and what it is composed of, all the several separate assignments and their grades. Why isn't that ready yet? And now this is the discussion that is taking place, right? And let's compare this to the feelings that the business analyst had prior to coming to the call. The person was excited because he or she likes the project. She or he thinks that so much progress has already been made just in 2 business days. I want to receive feedback as soon as possible so that we can progress further in the right direction. Sorry? I think someone got unmuted probably. Okay, let's continue. And now you're receiving these types of questions and these types of feedback. Well, if a person cannot recognize their feelings and is not capable of managing them right now at this very moment, they will become very sad very demotivated to continue with this project. They can even ask probably their manager to stop working on this initiative and switch to something different if this is possible within the company, right? They can probably, depending on the person, become a little bit ruder during that conversation and start giving very short answers and not explaining anything. They would probably not very willing to collaborate in the future with the same stakeholders, and they will not wait for the next meeting with the stakeholders with an excitement, willing to share the ideas that they have, right? But if the emotional intelligence is a little bit higher, we can think about that. Well, okay, now I am feeling frustrated, now I am feeling demotivated, but I know that I have completed my work very well. I had just 2 business days to do this and that. I understand why these people are asking all these types of questions. It is not because they are not smart, right? Or I understand that they are new to software development industry. They have never been into software development project. They think only about school and the school education. Our points of view to the same thing are opposite, are absolutely different, but I know what they are currently expecting from me based on this feedback, and I can be more proactive in educating them and teaching them, well, that these are the wireframes, and we cannot start with the graphic design until we approve the wireframes, because the graphic designer will have to redo the same things over and over again. It's waste of time, effort, and money, right? I can also tell them that this is just the beginning, and I understand that we need the drill down for the grades, and so on and so forth, right? So when you can step back from the situation and take a view not from your personal shoes on what's going on, but from the outside, you can see the different perspectives and can realize that the people came not to hurt you, not to demotivate you, but because they have their reasons, their background to talk like this. And you can deal with the situation more successfully and use it to build a better collaboration than just to ignore all what's happened and refuse participating in the project, for example. Okay, so the next skill that I would like to talk about is negotiation and conflict resolution. So basically, a conflict comes from the same source, probably, as I have just discussed, right? When we look at the same thing differently, I'm saying it is pink, you're saying it is black, and this is where the conflict happens, right? And to successfully resolve a conflict, we have to understand that source of the conflict, be able to listen attentively to the other party and let them tell what they think and why they think this. Acknowledge that you hear them and you understand their point of view, and then share your point of view and find steps and agree on those steps to resolve the conflict. So this is basically the image that shows what a conflict is very simply, right? So at its core, negotiation and conflict resolution is also about the ability to step back from your own shoes and be able to put on the shoes of the other party, at least for a while, just to understand why they're saying this, what are they thinking about, what are they being driven by, right? And being able to acknowledge their perspective. I will continue the example with the mobile app for the school. Assume the project progresses, and we have also included the ability for payments to pay for the education at school through this mobile app. And overnight, something happens. We have just had a release, right, to production that has happened recently, and several customers, several families or parents have been charged for the upcoming next 3 months unexpectedly. This wasn't going to happen. This is not their payment schedule, but our app made a mistake. There was a bug in it, and we made some people pay, right? And now we have the customer who is yelling and saying that they have received the calls from those parents saying that this is scam, that they are not being protected, that their payment information is not being protected, that we have charged much more than they were expected, and this wasn't planned, and they had other plans for that money, and so on and so forth, right? What should we do? Well, here's the question. You have that school owner, right? In my example, the business owner coming with all this feedback. Our parents are unhappy. Your mobile app made very huge mistakes. We are charging people that we were not supposed to charge. They are angry at us. They will leave our school, and so on and so forth. This is the stakeholder that you currently have. And think about that stakeholder, that business owner at this particular situation as a glass being filled with water. And there is so much water, it's almost going out of the glass, right? And then you want to explain them what happened and why this has happened. But can you add more water? Can you pour more water into a glass that is already filled with water? Well, obviously not, right? Everything that you are trying to tell, everything that you are trying to add to that glass which is already full will come out of it, right? They will not listen to you because they need to be listened to first. So when you have such big conflicts with any stakeholders, not necessarily with project sponsors or business owners, right? And some conflict happens. Well, first of all, do not start with speaking and explanation. First, if there are so many emotions coming out, let them speak. Let that water pour out of the glass, because you need an empty glass to be able to tell them your explanation so that you are heard and you are understood with your points of views, right? So listen to them, acknowledge that you are listening, not listen to them with your headphones on, right? Listen, acknowledge, listen actively. Say, yes, I understand what you're saying. Yes, this happened. Yes, like 3 families were charged unexpectedly. Ask more questions, because sometimes when you just let them speak, they will not give you all their water. They can give you half of it, right? But we are not interested in mixing their water with our water. We want an empty glass. That is why we need to ask more questions. Like, what information did they share with you? Can you tell us the exact names of the families who called you? I'm making this up. Probably my questions right now are a little bit irrelevant because we can find all this data in the database, right? But just to give you an example, ask more questions to make sure that the glass becomes empty. And only when that glass becomes empty, acknowledge that you hear them, you understand their emotions. You do not necessarily agree with their emotions and say that, yes, the development team is awful, everything what we do is awful, and we are the worst software development team ever. No, you do not agree with their emotions. You acknowledge that you understand that they feel these feelings right now, right? And then you acknowledge the facts, right? Yes, 3 families were charged. The total amount that we have charged them for is this and that. You talk about the facts. And then after you provide this summary of facts, you provide the results of your investigation, what you have already done to understand why this occurred. And you are saying, well, when the thinking process was off, and that is why we didn't realize that these families have already been charged for the past 3 months, and our system saw them as those families who owe you, the school, money, and that is why we started charging them, and so on and so forth. So you show them that you also care about what happened, and you have already spent some time investigating the reasons for that situation. Once you share that, then you can tell them what has already been done to stop the issue, then what is planned to be done to deal with the consequences. Right, like we will return the money to them, we will restore the account, all the information in their profile, what can be done like to deal with those consequences. And then you're also discussing what can else be done to prevent similar issues in the future, like what has already been done. For example, we have turned this functionality off not to charge anybody else right now. Right, we will do this and that to deal with the consequences to those family accounts that have already experienced the issue, and we will do this and that not to let this happen in the future again. but you can start telling only once the glass is empty, because this is when your water can successfully stay in the glass. They can hear you and they can agree on the steps that you propose. Okay, we are almost done there. I'm sorry we are a little bit out of time, but I think just several more slides and we are done. The next skill is ethics. Ethics is ability to recognize and adhere to your personal values. Like, ask yourself, what is it that is important for you? And you can never work against those values. For example, your values can be honesty, respect, accountability, trustworthiness. Here, I also have the 4 values that are being promoted by the Scaled Agile framework. The Scaled Agile framework says that the 4 core values are alignment, transparency, respect for people, and relentless improvement, right? You can act ethically and you can help yourself in this direction if you ask yourself what my core values are and how I want to act. How can I continue my activities in accordance with those values? For example, my core value is honesty and transparency, right? And I'm at a project, for example, I'm making this up. This is an example. At a software development project, I'm responsible for managing a project plan. And this is an example of a project plan here. We have a milestone 2. The deliverables are 1, 2, and 3. They are listed on the screen right now. The start date for the milestone is January 1st. The end date is January the 30th. And this is the date when the ready functionalities that are listed here will be delivered to the customer, to the end user, so that they can start using it. And we are in the middle of this milestone with our development team working on these functionalities. And we understand that item 3 is not going to be delivered. We are not going to make it simply because there are much more like dependencies and functionalities involved into this. And that is why I go to the knowledge base that we are using to publish our project plan, and I delete this item. I delete this item from the project plan and move it to the next milestone. And I also strike this January the 30th end date and say that it will be February the 2nd. And this is it. I physically remove the date January the 30th and put instead February the 2nd. And this is it. And well, I can say that, well, our knowledge base sends automatic updates to all those who are interested in this. But for me, having that values of honesty and transparency, I need to act differently. I understand that my stakeholders, my key stakeholders, are expecting this to be delivered, the business owner, the end users, right, the principal of the school and the vice principal. That is why I send them an email saying that, hey, we had to update the project plan. This item 3 here is not going to be delivered on January the 30th because, and I provide reasoning and explanation, not emotions, but reasoning and explanations, the facts. I also tell them this will be delivered in the next milestone, but not by the end date of the milestone, but in the middle, because we have already started working on this, and this will be delivered earlier, for example, by February the 15th instead of February the 25th. And I'm also saying that we have moved the date, and ideally in that knowledge base where I have that plan published, I shouldn't just remove this. I should strike through the items that I have updated, write the big letters, update it, and put the new values next to those old ones so that it is obvious for anybody that the project plan has been updated. So for me, acting in accordance with my values, honesty and transparency, I wouldn't just remove, I would strike through, write updated today's date, and add the new values or new items, right? And I would also immediately notify my stakeholders in the most relevant way that is accepted and agreed by all stakeholders in our project, whether it is email, Slack, Microsoft Teams, or whatever the tool is, right? This is how acting in accordance with your values can also help you build better collaboration and relationships with your stakeholders. And the last thing that I have here is courage. Courage is basically your ability to do something that you know is difficult or dangerous. Sometimes you need the courage to say no when you feel that this is the right decision. You need courage to propose something like using a new tool, even though it has never been used before in this company and nobody has never thought of it, and you feel that it is risky to say, well, that probably we should start using, instead of Miro diagrams, we should probably use tool ABC because this and that, right? You need courage to make unpopular decisions, to propose something that will likely meet resistance from some of your stakeholders. But courage is not about emotions, is not because you're just leaning towards one or the other option. It's about your deep knowledge. It comes from your experience. It's about your professionalism and the willingness to take responsibility for what you are doing and the willingness to deliver the most value. I will give you an example from my personal experience, work experience, when no was an important word. We had once a client who said, I need a new order management system built from scratch. And we have already promised our sponsors to show them a fully functioning solution in 2 months. It was like February, March, April, and they wanted everything to be ready by May the 1st. And first I said, okay, let's talk about what should be in that order management system. We start talking about the functionalities that they need. It appears that there are multiple integrations that should happen, and also an integration with their legacy system that is already in place. And the amount of functionalities we discuss, and we have only 4 full-time developers on our team. And I understand that it's hard to say no right now when you have a very important stakeholder who you are currently communicating to, and they are pushing, saying, well, we cannot change the deadline. We have the sponsor who should see the ready solution by May the 1st. But you understand that if you say yes, the team will never be able to complete this by May the 1st. And you understand that this is the right decision to say no right now. And to discuss what is relevant and what is possible. So when you discuss this, you say them, well, this is the list of features that you want to be delivered by May the 1st. We have only 2 months. This is the team members that we have. This is how many hours they can produce within the 2 months. This is the estimates for those features that you want to get. This is the integrations that have to be completed, and there are dependencies between the features. We cannot start working simultaneously on everything, and adding 5 more team members will not help. It will even do worse for the project. So that is why we propose that by May the 1st, we will be able to give you a solution that works, but it will include only 1, 2, and 3. That is it. During the next milestone, we can do this and that, right? And you have this courage to say no, but it's not based on the emotions, like saying, well, you are the person who knows nothing about software development. This is not possible. This is not going to happen. No, you're not using your emotions. You're using facts, right? And you are proposing a solution, a compromise, what can be done within those 2 months and how then it will be approached further, right? And also a good example from my personal practice is that when you give some ETAs, estimated time of arrivals, when you tell the due dates for certain tasks, always add a time buffer, right? For example, you understand that you need 8 hours to complete something. Do not say it will be ready tomorrow. Say it will be ready the day after tomorrow, because first of all, unexpected difficulties can arise and you always need that time buffer. The second thing is that if you deliver earlier than you promised, it won't hurt. The other person will be happy to receive it a day earlier, right? But if you deliver it later and start again explaining why you are delivering this later, this will hurt. So it's a good practice to always add some time buffer to all the dates, due dates, ETAs that you're giving to any stakeholders who you're working with. So to sum it up, we have talked about the soft skills development here. Soft skills development may be hard. It requires self-reflection. You have to look at what you can do to recognize what you are good at and what you are not good at yet. right? It requires honesty and also consistency. It is something that has to be developed day by day, and only then you grow, right? And when we talk about the soft skills development, everything starts with your observation, self-reflection. Then you acknowledge saying, well, yes, here I was pretty rude and this is not something that helps. Well, here I got demotivated because I heard this, but I understand that they said that because of so and so, right? Acknowledge, accept that this is what it is right now, slow down a little bit and start acting, not reacting to the critics, to the negative feedback, to what is going on. Start acting and recognizing all the other perspectives of other people that you are dealing with and learn from your activities. Professional growth is heavily dependent on your personal growth. So the key takeaway here, probably you can make a list of those soft skills that you understand that you are great in, right? And it is based on the facts and your observation from your work experience. And probably look back at your work experience, find some situations where you could have done better, and focus on those soft skills that you probably should develop more. This is it. So today we have covered the level of professionalism, talking about junior, middle, and the senior professional and how they can do the same activity differently and how much supervision of a manager or of somebody else is required depending on the level of a person. We have also talked about the fact that professionalism is defined by the individual skills that you possess and the level of each skill, and you should be able to identify those skills that are not on the highest level right now and focus on their development. We have also talked about that the professional development is dependent on both pillars, and you have to gradually build both pillars represented as hard skills and soft skills to advance your career. Focusing on the hard skills or on the soft skills only will never be enough, right? Soft skills are those skills that are defined as personal behaviors and traits, and emotional intelligence is probably one of the most important things to develop, because once you start working on it, all the other soft skills will also start like boosting and advancing. And again, our next webinar will happen in 2 weeks, September 25th, Efficient Information Management for Business Analysts. If you have any questions, if you want to share your examples right now, if you still have time to stay here with me, let's discuss those examples and questions and comments. So let me check the chat. Yes, there is something in the chat. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Anything else? Any questions, comments? If you want to ask something or to say something, you can just unmute yourself and go ahead and start talking. When stakeholders are unfamiliar with the role of a business analyst, and it is, where are some effective ways to educate them without causing frustration or resistance? It depends on the context, right? Thank you for your question. And it can also be defined like how you understand that they are not aware of business analysis practices. Probably you want, if this is your first meeting with them, you can tell them, hi, my name is John Doe, I'm the business analyst, and tell them what you are going to be responsible for. Like, I am going to work with you to understand the needs that we should cover here within this initiative, and I will help you to provide all the documentation so that we are not wasting your money and time on the development until the documentation is complete. So start focusing on the value that you are going to deliver, right? Not what you will need from them. Like, I need you to talk to me twice a week and each session will take 1 hour. Start thinking about the value within the context that you will be delivering, what you will be giving to them, and how they can help, how their input will help the final deliverables of the project, right? I don't have much context here, but I think this might help. Is it possible to get the video recording? Yes, sure. We are recording this. I will upload it to our YouTube channel, share the link, and on our website we have the resources section. So Yes, it will be. If you want, send me a direct message in LinkedIn. You should have, you probably received some messages from me before the webinar. So send me a message, ask for the recording. I will send you the link. Thank you. One more question probably is coming. Yes. You talked about the importance of letting stakeholders empty their glass during conflicts. How do you balance listening with moving the conversation towards constructive solutions without escalating tensions further? Again, this depends on the situation, and typically, first of all, you let them speak because until you do not give them this space to talk, all the further discussions will not be even possible. They will not be productive. So, you should probably add more acknowledgement, like, I understand that this experience was frustrating. I hear that you are feeling angry that this happened. Okay, but probably now we can discuss the next steps, right? So, like, very kindly and softly make sure you confirm that you listen to them, you understand what they tell, but also remind that you can move further into the solution discussion. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. If you have any more questions, again, feel free to send me a direct message in LinkedIn. And also, if you have any suggestions about other topics that you would like to be discussed during our upcoming webinars, feel free to share that information with me in LinkedIn as well. Any more questions, comments? Okay, I don't see anything else coming in the chat. So I want to thank you all for coming, for spending this time with me today. Hope this was useful and you can apply this at your work and your day-to-day life. In case you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. Thank you very much, and depending on your time zone, have a good night, great evening, or a good day. Thank you very much. Bye.